So hence where the term wheel file came from. The whole cheese shop thing came from the Monty Python sketch. And Python packaging index was created out of a need. Users, there's a use case where users have sadly passed away, but there are multiple people who probably want to, maintain the project or replace the project with something. So those things take different kinds of courses of.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe we are. The last time I checked, the ticker is around 945,000. Plus or minus a couple hundred users. So I'm pretty sure we'll be hitting 1 million users.
Hi everyone. Have you ever wondered what does a PyPI specialist do? Recently, I had a chance to talk to Maria Ashna. Maria is the PyPI support specialist at the Python Software Foundation. Prior to PSF, she has worked at the Brain and Creativity Institute at the USC, working with the neuroscience of creativity. Maria is also the founder of the Magic Lightbulb, a tech and product consulting firm.
What does a PyPI support specialist do?
Great question. So a PyPI support specialist does a lot of different things. But as I've done my role for a year now, I realized that it's not just support in quote unquote what people think as tech support. It's a lot more than that. If you create a Venn diagram of my role, a PyPI support specialist entails working with devs. So I would even argue that it's more DevRel advocate, DevRel relations. If you look at the other side of the Venn diagram of my role, you can see it's also, what kind of features can we offer? What kind of other services can we offer our users through PyPI? So I would even say it entails a bit of technical product. So a whole gamut of things.
And can you tell us something about the history of PyPI and what is PyPI in general?
So PyPI stands for the Python Packaging Index, and it was formerly known as the cheese shop. So hence where the term wheel file came from. The whole cheese shop thing came from the Monty Python sketch. And Python Packaging Index was created out of a need to better manage and distribute Python packages. So it was officially born in 2003, and I believe the first packages were hosted in 2005. So PyPI has been around for almost 20 years.
And how many people do work on PyPI? Are you the only person employed to work on it, or are there more people in your team?
So prior to me, we had lots of generous volunteers dedicating their time and expertise. But right now, I'm part of the Python Software Foundation. So I am part of the PyPI support team, along with Mike Fiedler, who is a PyPI support engineer. And we also have our infra folks supporting PyPI on the infra side, E. Durbin, Director of Infrastructure, and Jacob Coffey, Infrastructure Engineer. Yeah, so it's 4 of us.
Okay, and what are some most common issues that you're dealing with?
So when I came on, we had a huge backlog of account recovery issues, which entailed, people not signing up for 2FA or people losing access to their recovery codes or 2FA.
And 2FA is now mandatory, right?
2FA is now 100% mandatory. So if you're a PyPI user and you've not signed up for 2FA yet, please do. We also had a huge backlog of PEP 541 requests. So when I talk about backlog, the backlog was delayed account recovery specifically by 5 months and PEP 541 requests by a year and 4 months. But I'm happy to say that as of now, well, with the exception of this week since I'm at EuroPython, the backlog for both account recovery and PEP 541 requests are current, with an average triage time for account recovery taking between 1.5 to 2 days versus PEP 541 requests taking an average of 1 week versus what it was before, which was a year and 4 months. Yeah.
And how many tickets do you have in your backlog, just to have some sort of idea? When you said that it was delayed, how much work do you actually have?
Oh, that's a great question. If I have to go back and look at my GitHub history, I would say over 500 plus that I
Wow, that's a big number.
probably closed. It's probably even bigger than that, but just to be on the conservative side. Yeah.
And are those some very easy tasks that you can resolve immediately on your own, or does it require lots of coordination, for example, with other teams or other team members?
That's a great question. It actually depends on a lot of variables. It depends on, how fast the user gets back to us, because we do have a set of processes, which I'm in the process of documenting and creating a workflow to share with our users so that they know exactly what happens when they put in an issue, a ticket. So it really does depend on the user. If a user gets back to us with the information we requested from them, then closing the issue is fast, versus if the user has any other kind of issues or lack of information. Say we require our users to have a valid public repo of their project. So lots of times users may not have that for whatever reason. So those issues take a little bit more time in terms of account recovery. For PEP 541, the process takes a little bit longer because, as stated...
Can you maybe just summarize what is PEP 501?
Yeah, sure. So a very TLDR version of a PEP 541 is, say you have a project called Snake Rabbit, and you created it, you had lots of hopes and dreams for it, but then, life happened, and then you kind of stepped away. And then, say I come in and I really want to name my project Snake Rabbit, but you already own that space. You already own the name and the project. So again, depending on the variable, if I want to continue to maintain your project, there's a different process, versus if I want to completely replace your project, there's somewhat similar but also different process. So again, it's a nutshell, a TLDR version of what a PEP 541 request looks like.
And what if you ask user for additional information but you're unable to reach out to them for any reason? What happens? Do you just automatically close the issue after some time? Or what are the processes?
I think that's also very context and issue dependent. I make sure to over-communicate with our users to make sure that no matter where in the world they are, they're hearing from us before, we completely close the issue due to, non-response or things like that. Account recovery, it's a little easier to do because, if a user's no longer interested in getting their account back for whatever reason, okay, they can always open a new ticket. For PEP 541 requests, it's a little bit more complicated because the timeline, as stated in the PEP itself, and listeners or viewers to this can Google PEP 541 and the PEP will come up for some more detailed reading. But it really depends on the context of the project and the communication, because there are times where, users, there's a use case where users have sadly passed away, but there are multiple people who probably want to, maintain the project or replace the project with something. So those things take different kinds of courses of processes and time than, say, two people who are amicable about, oh, you can totally take over my project. So it's really context dependent.
Right. And you mentioned opening a ticket. How do you communicate with your users? Do you have a GitHub repository where they create a ticket, or do you have any sort of portal for users?
We have our own GitHub issue tracker, and for confidential stuff, we also, after, say, a user opens a GitHub ticket for account recovery or PEP 541, for any kind of sensitive information such as email or any other thing, then our process includes using our own in-house email, kind of internal email system that users can email us with more information, and the process goes from there.
And do you have any self-service there where users, for example, if they have any issues where they can go through some workflow on their own without having to communicate with you?
I think it depends if they already, say, for example, they have 2FA set up, their account is, they still have the recovery codes, but they just need a password reset. I think that is pretty self-serving. But if for whatever reason, they did not sign up for 2FA, then our systems automatically unverify their email. And if your email is unverified, then you can't really do a self-serving password reset. So just as an example. So those are some things that then a human being has to come in and do all the checks and make sure, help them out. Yeah.
And you mentioned that most issues that now you're dealing with are related to account recovery into 2FA and PEP 501.
541.
501. Are there any other issues that you're also dealing with, or are there any other new PEPs or new changes where you expect lots of issues incoming in the following weeks or months?
It's a good question. I think another support request that I've been tackling are file and project limit requests. We get requests to increase the limit that folks can upload their files or projects. Regarding future PEPs, I'm not aware of anything new that is coming up that might affect, but so I would say for now, I don't think so.
One of new features is PyPI Organizations. What are they and how do they work?
Yes, so PyPI Orgs was actually introduced in 2023, but it went in a bit of a hibernation, but now it's back up again. And it was created to help larger communities or larger companies with big projects with multiple team members manage roles and manage projects better. We're looking into increasing some features for people who are signed up with PyPI Orgs because we want to know from the community what else can we do to make PyPI Orgs exciting, because right now the big feature is, if you're part of a big community and you have several people who need access to the same project, you don't have to individually worry about, somebody leaving the project or package and everybody's scrambling to get access to it. Now it's, if you're part of PyPI Orgs, community or company, it's seamless in terms of role and project management.
Right. So that means that you have an organization. Inside that organization, you have some users or some groups and admins, and they can manage access and everything on their own without having to contact you.
Yes, unless they have a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
And what are some existing features there except of just having this organization? Are there any more features there?
So I'm glad you asked. So I'm in the process of doing an outreach, a PyPI org outreach, and I want to hear from the community what they would like to see PyPI orgs offering, because as you mentioned, that is kind of the only big feature we have right now, but I think PyPI orgs can be so much more. And I don't want to do any kind of leading questions or bias our users into what kind of features we can or cannot offer. So that's why I'm not really going to mention some things that we may offer or may not offer. That's why we're doing this outreach, to make sure we want to hear from our users first. And the bigger buy-in we get, we see from the data, our users say want a bigger limit, bigger increase in file limits or project size, just an example. Then we can offer something there, or users want some other kind of features. So we want to just get buy-in from the community before announcing or shipping out features.
And is it meant to be used only by commercial entities, nonprofits?
No. So I know when PyPI Orgs came back on, there's some tiny chatter on Discuss that, is PyPI Orgs going commercial, blah, blah, blah. But no, we're obviously open source, and our community orgs, I believe last time I checked, we have over 2,000 community orgs. Community orgs, it's free. We do have some company orgs, and they pay a tiny, tiny, tiny small fee for the service. Because it's open source and the resources that help run PyPI, a lot of it comes from the generosity of sponsors. So we would like to be at a place where we can still make sure PyPI is self-servicing and continues to exist and help users. And we want to make sure the reason we have a company-specific org, because companies compared to, say, community orgs, they have a lot of funding, and if they get the same kind of benefits as communities do, and if they have more needs, I think it's fair for them to kind of chip in. It's really pennies, in my opinion, for companies to contribute. So, but no, the rumors about commercialization are just that, rumors and false. So, yeah.
Yes, PyPI is a very important and big project. And it's important to
Exactly.
think about the sustainability of it and how to
Exactly.
make sure that it's still up and running because it's
Yes.
serving so many users
Mhm.
across the globe.
We are actually close to 1 million users.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe we are. The last time I checked the ticker is around 945,000. Plus or minus a couple hundred users. So I'm pretty sure we'll be hitting 1 million users very
And it's
soon.
all maintained by a very small team of a few
Exactly.
people who are employed.
Exactly. And passionate about making sure that PyPI continues to exist and serve our community.
I wonder how often it happens that people mix PyPI, PyPA, and PyPI.
Oh my goodness. I mean, during the talk that I gave, a lot of people, don't even sadly still pronounce PyPI correctly. And the correct pronunciation, by the way, it's Pi emoji, P emoji, and I emoji. I believe we have it somewhere on our website. PyPI obviously is the Python Packaging Index, and PyPA, I believe, is the Python Packaging Authority, completely different thing. And I forget what PyPI is, so
It's a variant of Python. And if people would like to learn more or to communicate with you, do you have any public documentation?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So people can always go on pypi.org to just learn about everything about PyPI. And if they want to know something about me or ask questions about PyPI directly, they can email me at maria@python.org. I'm also at Thesby-Brain at GitHub. Something that I've been working on that I think our users will be excited is we did not previously have any kind of documentation or clear public processes on what happens when a user submits a ticket for account recovery or PEP 541. So I'm in the process of creating workflow and documentation that our users can see, because I believe in transparency, and in open source, it's important to be transparent and let users know what we're up to.
So they know what to expect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.